Hello and welcome to today's show. It's about Wildflower Girl, Dana Stewart Quinney's adventurous autobiography. The show today is brought to you thanks to the Structure Success video training, which helps you come up with a rough chapter outline for your book or a basic outline if you're doing an autobiography, a biography, a memoir or some other life story project. So stay with me and I'll give you all the details on this freebie at the end of the show. If you're brand new to Forever Young Autobiographies, it's where we learn how to create life stories for family and friends so unique memories can live on for future generations. And I'd love it if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, share with a friend, or perhaps you could leave a review. It all helps. So today's show is about Dana Stewart Quinney's autobiography, Wildflower Girl, and the full title is A Lifelong Journey Beyond the Trail. And basically, it's in a nutshell, it's about nature's richness and magic. So Dana grew up, she had a 1950s childhood in Idaho Wood River Valley. And she's travelled the world as a field biologist. She put out this book, or this autobiography, a little while ago by Hidden Shelf Publishing House, and in 2019 it actually picked up the Idaho Library Association Book of the Year. So really a great award for her to win. Now I caught up with Dana a little while ago for Forever Young Autobiographies, and she told us a little bit about herself, her book, how she came to write it, and the fave story from within the book. So let's jump into the show. This show today is a summary of a bigger article I have over at my website, foreveryoungautobiographies.com/wildflowergirl. I'll have the link for you in the show notes, but let's jump in. So Dana grew up in Ketchum, Idaho. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And she was a girl of the land. She learnt to fly fish, she learnt to ride, she learnt to shoot. And then she went on to become an outdoor biologist and teach college students, pass on her knowledge. And in 2011, she was named the USA Army National Guard Conservationist of the Year. She's done many very different jobs, some of them exceedingly quirky, but today she lives in Idaho with her husband and Shelties. So she says everything about life, everything is a story. And she's written a bunch of scientific publications. She's done a young adult series and romance. But this book, Wildflower Girl, started, she reckons, when she was about age 11, writing her grandpa's stories about his childhood in the pioneering days of the Wild West. And then she found out that, I've got some stories too. I'm going to keep this going. So how did she get writing and what were the rewards? So like a few different autobiographies I've featured on this show, her book started as emails to family group. And over time, she started to compile these emails. They were very popular. She compiled them into a book. And she built up the courage to meet with a publisher, and of course it was published. Now, there was many rewards to getting her autobiography published. The first was actually doing a reading in her hometown library. Now, there's a bit of a story to this because when she was very young, they didn't have a library in town, and some women fundraised through an op shop or a charity shop, and they got enough money to build this library. And when Dana was in grade 8, it was opened and they were let out of school early, and they all ran down to get their library cards. And she says she wasn't a particularly fast runner, but she still got library card number 12, so she was quite proud about that. So that was a real reward, being back in that library and able to read her life story. A second reward, of course, was picking up that Library Association Book of the Year, and of course the writing itself. She said that was incredibly rewarding. Now, this brings me to another section for the show, which was Dana's fave story. It has a library connection again. It's called, the part of the story is called The Anthology, and it refers to a book, Anthology of Romanticism. And it was given to her by the first librarian of this library in 1957, and it was too battered and she was just giving it away. And Dana ended up with this book. And about 2 years ago, when Wildflower Girl was on the presses, she contacted the librarian's daughter to find out how Mum was. Her mum was quite elderly at this point, in her 90s, and she passed on Wildflower Girl manuscript so that the librarian's daughter could read it to the librarian before she passed, aged 95. Now this book, the anthology, it was treasured. Dana had taken this to all over the world, to continents, different continents, and she says it had been in saddlebags, backpacks, cars, planes. So that had to be her favourite story of Wildflower Girl. And that's where I'm going to leave it. That's a bit about a case study, Idaho field biologist's life story, which is a surefire nature fix. So I encourage you to check out Dana's book. To recap, we've talked a little bit about Dana, how she came to write the book, and the fave story. And I hope it's just sort of a little bit of set a light bulb off in your mind about how childhood can be a real treasure trove of memories for our own writing or our own life story projects. Now, please head over to my website to get the full article, the links to buy the book, pictures of the covers, Dana, and there's a really great one of her childhood home covered by snow. Really, really dramatic photo. So please go and take a look at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/Wildflower Girl. And while you're at the website or while you're here on this platform, I'd love you to answer, does your life story project feature any childhood memories too? Are they wild ones like Dana's? Please share. I find it really fascinating, all the different stories that people have. And if you have any questions to do with life story writing or recording, you can always send me a question or drop me an email at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/contact. So before I go, I want to just remind you the Structure Success video training, which I mentioned at the top of the show. This is a free training that I'm giving you to help you get started on your writing project or your other creating project. Basically, this training is quite short, but I sit you down and we go through about 4 key exercises to come up with some key memories, some key areas of your life, and then we organise those into a basic structure outline or chapter outline. And that's a great place to then get going with your creating or recording. Now to get that, you just sign up, go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/structure success sign up. Again, the links will be down below or over at the website. So please check that out. Now I'll be back again soon with another topic. So I would really love it if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, share it with a friend, and leave a review if you can. I'd be really grateful. So until then, happy writing.